back of my head, I thought I was going to pass out and die, as I literally could not breathe. I threw the cigarette on the ground and put it out immediately. Yet I still kept the pack with me. Weeks later, I tried again, and this time I succeeded at inhaling. I thought it was just going to be a casual habit of mine, but I was dead wrong. I kept on buying packs non-stop for the next year. I have made numerous attempts to try and quit, but I simply couldn't, and I was starting to run low on money, all on some rolled paper. If you are curious about smoking or are being peer pressured into it, simply don't do it. Nicotine is one of the hardest addictions to break, and the best way to break that addiction is to never start in the first place.
When I started high school, I was the only girl in the entire school who wore hijab, and I was really scared, I was nervous, and I stood out so much. I was afraid that people would question me and look at me weird.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. One more thing, sir. I would like to have your telephone number.
But they didn't, and everyone seemed to accept me, so I started to feel comfortable. So late in the year, I was
need to have his number and his email address. Then, like when the people were all roaming the streets that night,
in class, minding my own business, while a group of guys across the classroom were playing Truth or Dare. One of the guys from the group comes up behind me and they pull my hijab off, and I just froze on the spot and I was so shocked. So I just took my blazer off and I covered my hair. I wanted to go to the teacher, and as I was walking, the guy and his friends come up to me and they try pulling my blazer off my head, saying, "No, let me see your hair, let me see your hair." And I felt so attacked and I wanted to cry and I was shivering and I said, "Please leave me alone." Luckily, somehow, I managed to get away from them, and I went up to the teacher and I told her these guys made a dare to pull my scarf off and I don't know what to do because people saw my hair. And she spoke to me and she said, "It's okay, don't worry, just quickly go to the bathroom and fix it up." So I ran as fast as I could down the stairs, across the passages and whatnot. I went to the bathroom and I was so shaky. I wanted to call my dad. I was freaking out. I eventually calmed down and I fixed my hijab and I made it back to class. All the learners were gone and the guy who pulled my hijab off was standing in class with a teacher and she was scolding him, yelling at him and shouting at him, and he looked like he was about to cry. And so at the moment I felt, he learned his lesson. So afterwards, the boy left and my teacher came up to me and she asked me if I was okay, and I said yes. And she said if anything happens to me again, then I should let her know. I felt okay after that, and I'm pretty sure everyone forgot about that moment.
I started to wear scarves as I was a Muslim, and every time I used to go to school, everyone used to make fun of me because I'm a Muslim, and you know those terrorist attacks. There was this one time where some girl on this game actually let go of me for being a Muslim. One time a girl actually kicked me because I was a Muslim. I would sometimes go in my room and cry. I had to tell a teacher everyone was being racist to me. But at least I still had some of my friends to support me when I was feeling blue. I always get worried about me being a Muslim, and I'm going to be finding some bombs around. But I love being a Muslim. Yes, we have to hide our hair. Yes, we have to hide our skin. But we all are beautiful. Just the same way.
I told somebody else, I said one thing that people don't realize is this. The same person that hired you can actually tell that I don't need you anymore. You just go. So if he tells you to go, are you going to swim into court? I thought within the terms of his agreement now. You will go. And once you go, you don't go now be that. So why aren't we just careful? So what would this, how about this man, this
On the first day of kindergarten, I was crying my eyes out after class. My mom had over
which means they know what they're doing. People that are working on Jewish ships that will have to get to say, please, take this money. Take this money because we're just starting. This is a small food, it's not a Jewish ship. So what are we talking about? No problem. So when will his own contract be available? No, nothing again. How do we get Franklin to bring it up now? I spoke to Chinwe. Chinwe said whether it has been forwarded to her and she wants to review it before. Yeah, that's what she said to me. And she was about to board the flight when we were talking because she was telling me that all of a sudden I just saw Chuka's. May I called you now? I saw my missed call.
No, I can't move my mouse.
What happened? I saw Chuka's call. I have the caller ID. So immediately the number flashed. He reconciled his name. I said, God forbid, I will not talk to this man until I talk to my original madam. If I don't talk to Chinwe, I won't talk to you because Chinwe should introduce me to you. You know, I mean, look at the way you spoke to me now. I mean, you're the one that brought him into my discussion. So I can't just pick up and start talking to Chuka. So
looked informing me that after school she wouldn't be picking me up. I'd be going to daycare. But when she wasn't there, I was a 5-year-old puddle of tears. That is, until a bright little girl cheered me up by asking me about myself. That girl's name was Sarah, and for 15 years, she was my best friend in the entire world. We only lived 2 blocks away from each other, so every morning before school we would bike to the corner of our conjoining streets, awaiting our smiling
Whoa,
Thanks for popping
Union.
out.
Our friendship never faltered. If I needed someone to go to Costco with me for a quick errand, she was my girl. If I needed to go to an awkward high school dance, I was comforted by Sarah's presence. We grew up together and graduated high school as a pair. During college, Sarah developed mental health issues. Her sophomore year was a lonely time for her. Depression and anxiety overwhelmed her, and she came home from winter break seeking treatment. For the next 5 months, she was really suffering. I did my absolute best to support her via text, calls, and FaceTime, encouraging her to give it her all to get better. Unfortunately, at the end of those 5 months, Sarah chose to stop fighting her battles and ended her life. A decision which halted mine. I had never lost someone that close to me. It was just before finals, a challenging time on its own, and I wanted to be able to study so I could finish out my sophomore year strong, but I was really weakened by the grief I was experiencing. It was hard for me to sleep. I tossed and turned at night, unable to stop thinking about how much I missed her. During the day, I felt waves of sadness while all I could do was cry and wish that it was all a bad dream. My journey with grieving, while sad, was healthy. I shared what I was going through with my roommate, Colleen, and she would cook me meals when I didn't feel like it and patiently listen to my concerns. My boyfriend provided a reliable source of comfort and endless hugs. I also confided in my occupational therapy professor, who did know what I was going through because her own brother had committed suicide. She gave me plenty of helpful resources, from quotes to studies of grief, and healthy ways to cope with pain. She also wisely said that while I will always have a hole in my heart for Sarah, the wound around that hole that is so tender right now will heal as I find closure. I will never stop missing Sarah. Mental illness is not widely understood. You are allowed to feel pain and, like Sarah, to be tired of fighting mental illness, but you are not allowed to give up. We are all the authors of our lives, and instead of ending your sentence with a period, choose to do so with a semicolon. Breathe, pause, regroup, and then seize another day. You've gotten through every day before this, and you will get through the next.
I was diagnosed with depression ever since I was 14. Living with depression feels like there's a ticking bomb inside you, counting down the seconds until it finally reaches 0. Then darkness surrounds all over you, and there's little to no way out. When I was 17, my self-esteem was down. I felt so alone. I just hated myself for having these problems. The fact that I was a junior in high school was already stressful enough. But the fact that the environment at school felt way much better than at home, it was too much for me to carry. My parents are all traditional. Chores had to be done every day. The apartment had to be perfectly clean, and there wasn't one day I wouldn't be put to shame for not doing things right. If I didn't meet my mom and dad's expectation, I would get yelled at. Then senior year came along. I was afraid of turning 18 because I believed my parents would put more expectations on me. I secretly hoped they would forget my birthday. They didn't. After a stressful senior year, I finally reached my goal of graduation. But the struggle didn't end there. I still live with my parents, and the rule applies that as long as I'm under the roof, I still have to follow the rules. I will still get yelled at and be put to shame for not doing things right on the first try. One evening, I felt so alone. I gathered the courage to talk about how I felt to my dad. It was something I was afraid of doing. talk about my feelings to any of my parents because I would always end up feeling even worse than when I began. Everything went downhill after I tried to confront both my mom and dad and tell them to please take it easy on me.